Hi everyone, welcome back to Pot Smokers Bible, my YouTube and social media channel. I'm starting a new episode today that I just thought of because I'm the only one on this channel, so I can do whatever the hell I want. But because of there's so many diverse aspects to the prophecy and what is happening, and I'm adding little bits to my channel to try to cover all of the bases. And so I'm instituting a new program today. I'm going to be calling it the Gray Say, which is literally me telling you the things that the Gray have taught me. I'm also probably going to be covering a lot of like ancient alien theory and that kind of thing on this particular segment because that does have a lot to do with what I'm dealing with. And on this first episode, I want you to understand why I am doing a segment called The Gray Say. That's because I am their spokesperson here on Earth. And I don't say that lightly. This is something that I have spent an entire lifetime working towards. And I have jumped through many, many hoops in order to prove to them that I am worthy of this honor. And it is a great honor because I get to be the first person on the face of the planet Earth to be able to say with 100% certainty that my God lives, that my God hears every word that I speak in prayer, that my God not only hears my prayers, but answers them. Not always as I want them to be answered, but always there is an answer. And I'm not saying this lightly, as I said. My story begins in my youth, when my contact with the Gray first began. Okay, I can't say that because from what the Gray say about my history, they actually first made contact with me when I was a toddler. You see, my uncle was in a car wreck, and it did frontal lobe damage, which inhibited his ability to discern right from wrong. He lived by impulse, and one of his first impulses upon leaving the hospital was to rape his niece, who was just a toddler at the time. And I do not blame him for that because he was not in his right mind. Prior to that car wreck, he would have never done anything like that. And so I have forgiven him long ago. But the damage was done. My body was ripped apart. And if I remember correctly, there was an operation that was performed um, outside of the hospital, which saved my life. But the Gray were alerted to the event by my grandmother, who had been raped in her youth and was telepathic. And so they intervened in that operation and saved me. And so from my earliest days, I have been amongst the human population that has been saved by the Gray. And they watched me throughout my entire childhood. So that when I became telepathic in my teens, they were there, waiting to answer my prayers and to lead me down the path that I have been led. My story of the Gray begins with a prayer when I was 17 years old. It was in August of 1988. No, 1980. 79. 1979. Sorry, I'm old. January 1st, 1979. I was devastated by an event which I will not recount for my family's sake. but it opened up my memories and showed me a horrific childhood of sexual abuse that devastated me as a human being and fractured my soul. And in that moment of devastation, I called upon God. Now, for 9 months, I called upon Jesus Christ. I want you to know that. For 9 months, I prayed to Jesus Christ for healing, for help. Nothing happened. And then I prayed to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I received an answer. And ever after, that God has answered my prayers. And that God has answered my prayers in many ways, shapes, and forms. It began with dreams where I would literally be be shown in my dreams what would happen. And then they would materialize. And they would manipulate people around me so that if I asked a question in prayer, someone would answer it in real time. It was as if the Gray were speaking to me through other people and through other mediums like television, radio, magazines. And there were also events, things that happened. I would be in a horrific situation where I would be in peril of my life, and somehow I would be extracted from that by means that I did not always understand. But the most telling were the nights that I cried. I would cry horrifically because of my childhood. And in those moments, I would feel their presence around me. I would tingle with warmth and love. And I could feel them as though they were present with me. And they would wrap me in that love and comfort me in my pain and suffering. And they would gently lead me to healing. Healing of a kind that we do not do here on earth. Healing which is desperately needed by so many. And they have taught me this healing technique of theirs. And I will be able to help others in the future by putting together a similar structure of healing that I was given. And then the voices came. Now, in our society, we're taught that voices are a sure sign of insanity. That everybody who hears voices is automatically deadly dangerous and needs to be locked up in an insane asylum. And my family members did try to have me committed when it became apparent that I was hearing voices. But I was a moral person who had never done anything to hurt another living being, including myself. And I never have. Okay. There was a couple of times when I tried, but those who loved me would not allow me to. And now I am so far beyond the desire to kill myself that there is no need to worry about that any longer. Because I have a mission now. A mission to lead humanity into a better age. An age where all humans are protected under the law from the moment they first start to breathe until they breathe their last. A society where every person is guaranteed the right to food, shelter, medical attention when needed, education, a job, honor and dignity, everything equal, without regard to anything other than what good you can do to society in the form of your profession. Because the one thing that unites us all is the need for mutual cooperation. And that is paramount to the Grey as well as to myself and to the human race. And they have taught me everything that we need to know to take this broken society that we live in and remake it into a society that can be sustained throughout the eons, so that the human race never again has to be subjected to a society that does not care. And no one in their right mind can say that this society cares. Because as long as there is one child in jeopardy of enslavement for any purpose, as long as there is one elderly forced to decide between medication and food and shelter, as long as there is one drug user who's put into prison simply because he wants to have a good time, these are not acceptable to the Grey. If we want a society of peace and justice, then we have to forsake our childish ways. That is what the Grey have taught me. And unlike humanity that are so bent on how it looks and not what it is, the Grey have chosen for themselves a kind of people that will show the true potential of humanity by their use of drugs. Because the drug users of this world are the children of the Grey. And the Grey will show the world true morality through the drug users. Now, I'm not saying that drug users are perfect in their current form. They're no more perfect than any other people on this earth. They are just one people amongst many. But together, all of us can create a better world. We only need to look to what is logical, what is humane, what is ancient, and what is technologically possible. By doing so, we can advance the human race. We can survive the catastrophes that are in our near future, and we can become a thriving civilization that knows no war, no poverty, no wealth, no inequality, and no injustice. These are the basic problems of this society. And with the help of the Grey, we can solve them, each and every one. And in so doing, we can create a better world, a world that knows no violence, that knows no dissension, where each and every person on this planet has the exact same opportunities as everyone else. Equality, true equality, unity, true unity. And it only takes our willingness to give up childish things. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your guild choice. Stay happy and high if you use drugs. You have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know I wrote the books. My name is Zion. I love you way too much to say goodbye, so I'm going to say later now.